and welcome to Cooking with NNPL. For this week's episode, we're going to be focusing on 2 different sweet and salty summer pie recipes that are fairly easy to make and don't require a lot of oven time. So this is great they're chilled pies, so they're best eaten cold. And we'll go ahead and get started. So our first pie that we're going to do is going to be our Atlantic Beach pie, which is sort of a take on a lemon meringue pie. So for this pie, the ingredients for the crust is going to be about 1.5 sleeves of saltine crackers. You'll need 1/2 cup of butter, unsalted. You'll need 3 tablespoons of sugar. And then for the filling, we're gonna take the yolks of 4 eggs, 1 can, about 14 ounces of sweetened condensed milk, and then a 1/2 cup of lemon juice. Now this here was freshly squeezed lemon juice, but you can also use the lemon juice in the bottle. And then for the whipped topping, we're going to have about 1 cup of whipped cream, and then 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar. All right, so now that I've got all my stuff here, so I've gone ahead and put my saltine crackers in a Ziploc bag. And this is to actually make it a little easier because you want to crumble your saltine crackers. And so this is a good way of doing it without making too much of a mess. So you're just going to place them inside a gallon-sized Ziploc bag. Spread them a little bit. And then either using a rolling pin, or you can even just use your hands, you're just going to crush them. So with my rolling pin here, I'm just going to lightly crush them. Let's see. Try to get as much air out of the bag as possible. And it's okay if some pieces don't crush super fine, because when we mix it, it'll help kind of make the crust a little bit more. But as you can clearly see, it's already kind of got a crumbly texture. All right, and so grab my bowl here, and we'll pour the saltines into a mixing bowl. And then to the crackers, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of sugar. We'll just give this, using our hands, we can just give a nice quick stir to get the sugar incorporated. And then to this, we're gonna add our 1/2 cup of butter. Now, I've had these sticks of butter resting out for about an hour. You want them to be basically to room temperature. That's gonna allow it to make the mixing part a lot easier. You can also, if you want to speed up the process, is if you take cold butter sticks and cut them into small cubes, then just let them sit out for a little bit longer. You can also do it that way, and it makes it mix up a lot easier. So once we get the sticks of butter in, we're basically just going to mix everything really well to get the butter incorporated into the crumb mixture. And what you're looking for is once everything becomes incorporated, it's going to be crumbly, very dry and crumbly. Now, if you have something like a pastry blender or fork, you can also use this. So what's the fun in that? Use your hands, get into this. There we go. So as you can clearly see, my hands are very crumbly, so that's what we're looking for. There was one thing I forgot to do, which was grease my pie dish, but I can do that really quickly. I have a stick of butter in my fridge that I can use to grease my pan. Excellent. All right, so then we're just gonna put the crumb mixture into the pie dish. And once you get the crumbly or your pie mixture in, you're just gonna press down. And so now that we've got our pie pressed already in the pie dish, we'll put it into a preheated oven set at 350, and we'll cook it for about anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes, just to get it brown. So we just want to get it nice and golden, and then once it has cooked, then we'll take it out and we will start making the filling that will go inside the pie. So now that the 15 minutes has passed and I've gone ahead and taken the pie crust out of the oven, and it's currently resting on my stove under a rack, we're gonna get started with making the filling that's gonna go inside the pie. So into a bowl, I have separated 4 egg yolks from 4 eggs. And to that, I'm going to add my can of condensed milk. And we're going to give this a good stir. Make sure that the yolks and the milk get well incorporated. Right. And then to the milk and egg mixture, we're going to add the ½ cup of lemon juice. Alright, and so it gets very, very liquid when you add the lemon juice, so you just want to be careful when you're stirring. But it is important that you make sure that all the ingredients are mixed together before you pour this into the pie crust. And so, once we have our filling made, we can add this to our pie crust. Actually, and we're just going to pour our filling inside the pie dish. And then this will go back into the same 350-degree oven, and it's going to cook for about 16 minutes, which will allow the filling to set. And then once it does that, we'll let it cool for a couple of minutes on the rack, and then it will go into the refrigerator for several hours. So the key to this is that once we've set the filling is that we want to chill this so that way we can eat it nice and cold. So I'll put this in the oven and then we'll put it in the refrigerator. And in a couple hours, we'll come back and we will top it with the whipped cream topping. All right, so it's been about a day now. We've let our pie chill in the fridge. And so we are going to finish our Atlantic Beach pie by creating our whipped topping that's gonna go on the top. So I'm also going to be making a little bit extra because what extra whipped cream I make is actually going to go into the next dessert, which is the strawberry pretzel pie. So for this recipe, for the whipped cream, I am going to use 1.5 cups of whipping cream. And then to this, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of powdered sugar. Now, if you were going to be just making the strawberry pretzel pie on its own, then you would only just need 8 ounces or a cup of the heavy whipping cream and then 2 tablespoons of the powdered sugar. And then, as you can see, I have a cold bowl here, and that is just to help get the whipped cream nice and cold and ready. And then I am going to use my hand mixer here. You can also do this by hand with just a regular whisk, but I'm gonna try to do this a little bit quicker. So I'm gonna start on low for a couple seconds to about a minute, and then I will gradually increase the speed until I start to see some slightly stiff peaks forming, and then that's when I know my whipped cream is ready. Okay, so yeah, you can see how there's just some pretty good sized peaks there, so we'll go ahead and stop from there. And as you can see, I have made a mess. So, pretty like down. All right, so let me grab my pie. It just creams. It looks so good. So, grab my handy dandy spatula over here. And so, like I said, so we're just gonna use a little bit of this whipped cream to just top our pie. Fluffy that is. And just spread it around. Now, according to some people, they say that you can actually even put a little bit of sea salt on top of the pie to just kind of, again, really go with that sweet and salty theme. I haven't done it personally, but I imagine it would be very tasty. But I find that the saltiness of the saltine crust, and then you get that sweetness from the lemon, sort of the lemon curd mixture that we made and the homemade whipped cream, and that is just perfect. So 1 pie down, and then another pie to go.